If you're not listening to Pubcast, the terrorists are winning. That's what Jay Moore says.
Welcome to the Pubcast. Sit down and enjoy a pint.
Welcome to the Close Encounters episode of the Pubcast. Allison and Eric join me to break down this 1977 classic from Steven Spielberg, a movie that is ingrained in all of our childhoods. We all love this film, and so many of the scenes are super memorable and quotable, and have been copied and parodied over the past 40 years. One of the questions we discuss is whether this is the most Spielberg-y movie of all time, and we really dive into the three types of aliens we see at the end, answering a question I've had since the first time I saw this movie 40 years ago. Finally, when we get to the how much are they worth game, you'll hear one of us make the worst guess in Pubcast history. So make a giant pile of mashed potatoes as we break down Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Indianapolis, Area 31 has traffic 2 o'clock, slightly above.
Can you say aircraft type?
Negative, Center. No distinct outline. Tell you the truth, the target is rather brilliant. Wait a second. He's heading right for my windshield. The traffic is approaching head-on. Ultra bright and really moving. And right by us, right now. That was really close.
31, do you wish to file a report of any kind of it?
I wouldn't know what kind of report to file, Center.
This is nuts.
What do you want?
I just want to know that it's really happening.
We recently had a close encounter. Close encounter with something very unusual.
Who are you people? I'm seeing this shape. Damn it, I know this. I know what this is. This means something.
What did you expect to find?
An answer.
Okay, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977. The no-nonsense plot. Get ready for this one.
Ready.
Roy Neary, which throughout the movie, I did not know his last name.
I 100% thought the same thing. I'm like, I didn't even know they ever said the last name.
No, probably did, but I wasn't paying attention. Roy Neary, an Indiana electric lineman, finds his quiet and ordinary daily life turned upside down after a close encounter with a UFO, spurring him to an obsessed cross-country quest for answers as a momentous event approaches.
Wow. It's a lot of
words to say.
A lot.
Okay, overall reaction to the movie. I did not see this in the theater. I was too young, unfortunately. But this is one, had it come out 3 years later, my dad would have dragged me to this movie to see it. I'm sure. He loves this movie. My mom she's fine with it, but doesn't really care that much about it. This was on our house as much as possible and growing up. We never owned it. We didn't have a VCR until way late. Yeah. So whenever it was on TV, we always watched it, no matter what.
Yeah, I like you, I did not see this in the theater. I believe, Eric, the first time I saw this movie was when it was playing on television, and I believe we were at Nancy Noiser's house.
I don't know, because The only thing I could say is I can't remember a time when I hadn't seen this movie. Like, it's so ingrained into my memory, I can't think of a time of like the first time that I saw it.
Yeah, it's like, when did I first hear of Mickey Mouse? Or when did I, like, it just was a part of...
Yeah. So watching this movie...
Yeah.
We often... Or I say we, it's mostly me. When I see some of these movies from some of these distinctive directors, Wes Anderson, I will often say, like, in my mind, I'm ranking that movie on how Wes Anderson is this Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
And for the last three, I don't know, a handful of movies that Wes Anderson done, I'm like, oh, this is Wes Anderson at 11. Like, this is peak. He's like just doing all his tricks, and it's you can tell his style from the get-go. Or Fincher or whoever. Is Close Encounters the most Spielberg of Spielberg's movies? Oh. He does all his tricks. It's got all the hallmarks, all the tropes. E.T. might won.
I was just about to say, like, the only one that can beat it, I think, is E.T.
That was going to be my response too.
I think that's the right answer. This thing's really close, though.
I mean, it's even got like the little kid superb acting. It's got, the connection of whoever to this child. It's like this childlike mystique and kind of like magical or whatever, but the child understands it and the adults don't, and all of that. Like, it's
the adults or the authority figures are always dumb and don't get it.
Yeah.
The kid always gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of the same characters and even sort of themes of E.T. are from this movie just turned up.
Totally. So this is 1977.
Mm-hmm.
And watching it, I mean, it's, of course, the fashion and the cars and stuff is going to date it as 1977. Do we think, if we had to pick an ideal sort of time
to make this movie
for Steven Spielberg, is this his ideal time where he would want to make a movie in this time? Like, I don't think Spielberg is going to make something.
Knowing what today could be, is would he choose that time period to make it? Even like if he knows the technology of today, the happenings of today, all of that, would he pick making a movie in 1977, or would he pick to make a movie in 2023?
Is it
23? Okay.
Like, Wes Anderson's going to set it in 1963 or something, 67 or whatever, because he's got that sort of 60s aesthetic to his a lot of his look. I think Spielberg's like preferred era is like that late 70s period.
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s, maybe getting into the E.T. Time period, but he did really like what he could do with Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but those are
to the point of where the technology was, and it was so mind-blowing when that came out. Like, I think
I'm not saying
but I think he loved that. Like, he likes pushing the thinking and getting the big reaction from the crowds, right? So he got that with what he was doing with Jaws and E.T. on kind of...
I'm saying the setting of the story.
Oh.
What if he set Jurassic Park in 1977? That would have been like with the bell bottoms and the whole deal. I think that's what it was like.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but he was definitely in his element. Like, he was...
This movie's awesome, by the way. Let's just say this.
It is for sure in my top 10.
Whoa, really?
Yes. It is a rewatchable movie. If I catch the first 2 minutes, I'm watching the whole thing. If I catch the last 2 minutes, I'm going to watch that 2 minutes. Yeah. I'm going to watch it at any point if I see that it's on.
Yeah.
It's so good.
What do you think, Eric?
I don't know that it's in my top 10, but I definitely would agree that everything stops when it's on.
Yeah. How long is this movie? I can't get a running time.
It's over 2 hours. I know that because it's like between 2:08 and 2:15, I think, depending on which version.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole thing too with the, there's like 3 different versions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I think there might even be 4 because technically the version that they would air on TV has never been, from what I read today, has never been released.
Yeah,
on like disc or digital. So there's kind of 4 versions of it.
It's
a Frankenstein's monster of all the 3 versions.
Yeah. There's a director, there's the theatrical director's cut, and then a special edition.
Right. So I focused on something in this movie that I always focus on. That I focused on it the first time I saw this movie.
Okay.
We talked about it a little bit last night. That I want to bring up in this part of the discussion.
Okay.
The aliens.
Yes.
I'm jumping all the way to the aliens.
Wow. Okay. Spoiler alert.
I never got it. It never made sense to me.
Okay.
There are 3 wholly different types of creatures that come out of the mothership.
Okay.
And I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Okay.
It was insanity. And I'll go last to first because the first one is what I want to talk about.
Okay.
The last one we see is that stop motion alien that does the hand movements.
Right.
Then there's all the little kids dressed in costumes.
Don't you mean aliens?
Yeah. By the way, they were a bunch of little girls.
Yeah, from a ballet class I saw.
Hyperactive ballet class, and that Spielberg would often have to start takes by shouting, "Girls, stop disco dancing." Fantastic. Not dancing, disco dancing. That's according to Bob Ballard.
Oh my God, that's good.
That's awesome. So that was the middle one. The first alien we see is that spider monkey of an alien that comes out.
The daddy long legs?
Yeah. Daddy long legs, where he has 2 sets of knees in each leg. And then when they cut to the scientist or whoever looking at him, especially that one tall scientist with the white hair, who's super prominent, but is like nothing.
Nobody. Yeah.
I don't know why he's in every shot. When they cut to him, he's looking down at the alien as if that thing is like 26 inches tall. I don't know what the deal is. He's looking down at it. Matters. Who cares?
Are you picking out a continuity issue with Steven Spielberg?
Just
how dare you?
My own obsession from when I was 10 years old watching this movie. And then he stands up and he's like 18 feet tall.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with that thing. And then all of a sudden it disappears. There's no, it doesn't, you don't see it walk back into the thing. It doesn't come down and interact with any of the people. It's just like a weird shot of this ridiculous spider alien, and then it's gone. I don't understand it.
I always just assumed when I was a kid, I just assumed it was one of the parents of all of the little.
Yeah, I thought the small ones were the kids. Really? Same thing.
All right.
Like it's like the parents like letting kids out at the playground, and they're gonna walk around for a little bit while they're
when you're family road trip and you go to the rest stop and you let the kids out and run around a little bit.
Exactly.
Kids,
get their wiggles
back
out
in the car.
Yep.
So there is an answer. I found an answer to this.
Okay.
And it is in the documentary.
Okay.
The making of documentary that I did not have time to watch after the movie. It's an hour and 40 minutes.
Right. It's a movie.
Yeah. The answer is from Spielberg.
Okay.
I wanted to show that that the alien world, that on the alien world, there were also different races. So there was the race of the long, willowy aliens, and there was this race of the short, bulbous head aliens, And then there's this race of this very skinny alien with that does the hand movements.
Yes.
I wanted to show that, like here, there are different races there. Great. I don't know. That was not communicated. I never got that vibe in the past 40 years, but
yeah,
that's an answer. But I've never heard that discussed, and that's just me. This is all just me obsessing about this since I was fucking 10 years old.
Right.
And I wanted an answer, and I never heard anything.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Which I can't remember if it was in what we saw or if I saw somewhere else, but the alien that does the hand signals looks like Barry.
Oh, it absolutely looks like Barry. It's definitely the alien version of Barry.
It is, and I think I heard that was somewhat intentional.
Yes, I read that today too. That they Spielberg gave like a picture of Barry for them to use as a reference.
Yes, yes.
Whoa, they fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
All right. Box office performance.
Okay.
1977. I don't think we've done this, but there are some fantastic
all right
entries into this top 10.
Okay.
Star Wars, the first one, 307 million in 1977.
That's A New Hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh.
126 million.
Oh my god.
So 300 million in 1977 is roughly like 1.3 billion.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So Smokey and the Bandit, I don't know, do the math. It's like a $500 million movie.
Wait, what was the box office then?
126.
Wow.
So
yeah,
a little less than half of Star Wars. But
oh my god,
that's
insane.
Number 3, Close Encounters, 116.
I cannot believe that came in second behind Smokey and the Bandit.
This movie came out in November.
Oh, all right.
It had a limited release. Limited meaning 2.
Were they afraid it wasn't going to?
2 theaters.
Wow.
One in LA, one in New York. Then it did well for like 3 weeks. Like blew everything out of the water. It was number 1 at those theaters for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Then they released it wide like in mid-December.
Why to create a buzz?
Spielberg doesn't really know. He doesn't like that they did it that way.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So number 4, Saturday Night Fever.
Ooh.
Number 5, A Bridge Too Far.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, The Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, The Spy Who Loved Me.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Oh God.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Is Teri Garr in that?
I think she is. I think she is.
9 was Annie Hall.
Wow.
Number 10 was Semi-Tough.
I don't even know that.
Burt Reynolds.
Wow. He had 2 top 10s.
He was in the top 10.
Wow. 2 top 10s for Burt Reynolds, 2 top 10s, Teri Garr.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the 70s for you. So Close Encounters took in 116 million. The budget was just under 20.
Mm.
We talked about the releases. So yeah, he didn't like it at first. It was rushed to get out, and he didn't like their marketing strategy and the way they put it out there. As far as the limited release and all that stuff, Spielberg was not happy with it.
Yeah, from what I was reading, it was Columbia Pictures was on the verge of bankruptcy, and they really pushed him to get it out as fast as possible.
That's why there is the extended version, or whatever they call it, special edition.
Yeah.
And then there's also the director's cut.
Got it.
He was rushed to get it out, didn't finish all the shots he wanted to get done, and the editing took a lot of effort. So the theatrical version was not what his finished version.
Interesting. They
said, okay, we'll do some reshoots for this special edition. And he's like, great, I want to do this, this, and this. And they're like, whoa. We want you need to show the inside of the spaceship.
Right.
He's like, no, that doesn't work for me. That's not.
Yeah.
I want every audience member to have their own imagination for what the inside would be. They're like, no, you got to shoot the inside.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll shoot the inside if I can do these other shots as well. I said, yeah, okay. But he did like this half-assed shooting of the interior of the mothership, which is it's nothing. It's barely there.
Correct. I wrote that down actually because in most of what you find like that plays on like streaming services, or if it's running on like a cable movie channel or whatever, it does not have the section with the inside of the ship.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, did I imagine that as a kid? I swear I saw the inside of that ship, and I remember something that I thought looked like an upside down Christmas tree in there.
So then they re-released the special edition.
Yeah.
Shortly after, like a year after,
right.
This came out in late 77. Like in 78, it was the special edition. And then Spielberg in the director's cut put out all that crap.
Took it all back out.
Yeah.
So today, this evening, I was like going between the three, trying to like look at the end of the movie to see what made the director's cut, and the inside did not make it. It was only in the special edition. And
it's nonsense.
It like at one point it sort of reminded me, and I know it's a different director, but the distant shot of all of the levels of the ship that has all the different aliens and people in it reminded me of like a George Lucas trick in Star Wars, like when they show like the whole in the newer the first trilogy prequels, they show like the Senate, and it's like all of these like big wide angle shots. And it was
who cares? That's not the point of the story.
No.
No one cares. Okay, Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
What do we think the audience gave Close Encounters?
This is as close to saying 100 as I think I want to give.
I'm
going to hedge my bet and say 99.
Oh.
There might be one Yahoo out there that's like, no way.
Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, again, 95 is essentially 100, but I'll say 95.
All right. The audience gave this movie 85%.
Get out of here. 85%? No way.
Yep.
There are a lot of Yahoos out there.
85?
I know.
15 out of 100 people gave it a thumbs down? That can't be true.
I don't know.
And
the critics. What do we think what was the critic score?
Oh, they had to have loved it. They got John Williams in there. You got Steven Spielberg. I'm going to say 96%. They're going to like the special effects. They're going to like the drama. I think they're going to like it. 96.
Eric, what do you think?
I know the audience scores got me spooked a little bit. I will say 90.
So the audience was 85. The critics gave it 94. 94% for the critics.
All right.
I think the critics are like easier than the audience for most of the movies that we've talked about. Yeah.
Yeah.
We always think the audience is easier. I think it's the other way around. All right. Trivia. There's all kinds of insanity with this movie.
There is a lot out there on this.
It's a lot of little stuff too. A lot of little technical.
That's because it's Spielberg.
I know. I did like. Let's see. where we start. This Spielberg originally conceived of this as a combination of his love of UFOs and a Watergate-like conspiracy.
Yep.
He called it the Watch the Skies. So he wanted government cover up and UFOs.
Was that Watch the Skies? Was that sort of in the commercial or the trailer?
All those
or whatever?
commercials and stuff were Watch the
Right.
Skies. So the title, the name of this movie is, if you focus group this title, it would never get out. Nobody would want. Like, what does that mean? Who? It's clunky. It doesn't say. No one knows what this is.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. So, despite the title, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Barry and the other abductees were actually involved in a case of Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind.
I know. I did see that.
Which denotes abduction by extraterrestrial beings. However, the phrase the Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind had not been invented yet, so he couldn't say it. So the first kind is when you spot something in the sky and there's no evidence. The second kind is when the UFO leaves some sort of physical trace, burns on the ground, broken branches, whatever. The third kind is when you make contact with the UFO and you see some alien pilot on board, or like you
see a being.
You see a being. Yeah, you realize there's a life form there.
All right.
So this is the fourth kind, actually.
Interesting.
So, terrible name and inaccurate.
All right.
Way to go, Spielberg. This might be my favorite piece of trivia, and it's also the most obvious and the thing I thought was the case forever.
Okay.
Spielberg wanted the air traffic controller's dialogue to sound as authentic as possible, so he hired real air traffic controllers. That dude, who does all the talking in that scene, of course he's a real air traffic controller.
Yes.
That guy nails it.
Yes, I saw that too. Yep.
Yeah. I've always thought, like, who is that guy? Because he's doing
He did a lot of studying of what real guys sound like.
Yeah. We talked about the interior of the spaceship, blah, blah, blah. Director's cut. Who cares? Okay. During the movie, Allison wanted to know more information about Barry.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what.
Did you read all this stuff about Barry?
Oh, I found yes.
This is in the director's cut as well, or the documentary as well.
Okay.
Which I found online. So the reaction shots of Barry seeing the aliens for the first time and the faces he makes in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
There's a couple different places that I have here. They called him One Take Barry or One Take Carey. This was his real name. Because he made all these faces the first time, and they couldn't replicate it because what they were doing off screen was so unique. They couldn't do it again. It wouldn't,
or he would expect it.
He would expect
right.
It. So one of the times, when they show him looking out the window and he goes, "Toys, toys." It was Spielberg slowly unwrapping presents. And that's why he was so looking out there, and he was like an interested look, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Toys," because he was unwrapping toys, and whenever he would do it, he would get to keep the toys. Spielberg was the toys. And then when he comes around the corner with the stuff strewn out of the fridge on the ground, and he has those reaction shots to theoretically seeing the aliens in the kitchen or whatever. And that face. Spielberg had a couple of crew guys. I think one was a cameraman or somebody, but they had two guys dressed in outfits behind like cardboard boxes. And one was in a clown suit, one was in a gorilla's costume. And for the first one, he dropped the box and he saw the clown suit. He was sort of scared. That's the first reaction you get. And then he sort of warms up to him and kind of smiles a little bit. And then he drops the cardboard box for the gorilla guy, and he sees the gorilla and he's scared for a second. And then Spielberg tells the guy, "Take your mask off." And he takes the mask off. and it's one of Carrie's favorite crew members. So that's when he smiles at the secretary too.
Right.
So they're all real reactions to like stuff you would do to make a kid laugh or smile or
be a little spooked or whatever. Yeah.
But we were wondering about that.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's
it's
always
so good. It's so good. Those expressions are just amazing.
The fact that he didn't run off or say something or wave or I don't know. Amazing. Stanley Kubrick was so impressed by the kid's performance that he wanted him to play Danny Torrance in The Shining.
Oh, really?
But they couldn't do it because of schedule conflicts.
Oh, interesting.
Eric, can you imagine Barry as Danny Torrance?
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah, the only other thing that I ever saw that I can remember ever seeing that kid in is he was Timmy in Poison Ivy.
Oh.
The TV movie with Michael J. Fox and Nancy McKeon. He was the kid that couldn't swim.
Oh my God.
Have you seen him as an adult? He looks just like Barry.
He looks exactly the same.
I haven't seen it. I know he obviously doesn't act anymore, but if I remember, I think I read somewhere he had got he's got his MBA and he works for like a finance firm or something in Alabama.
Wow. Okay.
From
the words that the crowd in India chant are Aya Re Aya, which means he has come in Hindi.
Oh.
Pretty obvious there.
Yep.
I mean, we all knew that, or we knew something like that was being said. The famous 5-tone sound in this movie. You can hear it somewhere else. And I went back and I saw this. I'm like, no way. I went and looked the video up, and it's clear as day. You can hear it again in the James Bond movie Moonraker when one of the guys taps in a code into a keypad.
Oh my God.
Do.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Is that where it
came
ridiculous.
From? No. They reused it.
They use it.
It was created for this movie by John Williams.
Yeah.
And
that's what I thought.
Spielberg.
Okay.
Somehow it got reused for a keypad sound in a James Bond movie.
Interesting.
Crazy. So we talked about the air traffic control guys, the synthesizer technician performer who does all the stuff on the runway, was an actual engineer sent by ARP Instruments to install the synthesizer, and they just used him in the movie. Just a guy. A guy. Yeah. On the bottom of the mothership, when it comes around the corner or over the top, I guess, R2-D2 can be seen hanging from the bottom of one of the ledges.
Yep. I actually went back and looked, and you can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. When Jillian is on the side of the mountain, and the mothership comes into view for the first time.
Yeah. Okay. It's just like R2-D2 shape, basically silhouetted with a light or two behind it, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did see that the model that they used for the movie, it's on display at the Air and Space Museum at the Smithsonian.
Oh, cool.
Is it laid
you
up?
You can actually go see it.
Is it life size?
So it's like I think he said it was 9 feet tall or wide.
That's still huge.
It's not.
It's
miles
big.
wide. The underside of the mothership, those lights and stuff, was inspired by the lights of the San Fernando Valley at night.
Oh, great. Wow.
And that concludes the trivia portion of what I have here.
All right, I have a bunch of things.
Yeah.
You took some of mine. So the most interesting thing, and like looking back and thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, of course. But Roy displays all the symptoms of PTSD following the incident in the truck, and how things unfold and how he becomes like really obsessed and like angry and irritable, and like things falling apart with the family and becoming isolated and kind of all of those things. But PTSD wasn't really ever identified as a term until the 90s with Desert Storm. So I thought, even though, I mean, clearly that's PTSD has existed.
It was called shell shock, but
yeah. But I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that makes.
That's one thing I wrote down when we were talking about the 70s, and all adults or authority figures are dumb, and a lot of Spielberg's early movies. Why does he seems to not realize? He does and he doesn't. Like, he doesn't tell anybody, like, do you realize I'm fucked up because of this encounter I had? Like, he doesn't quite say that to the Frenchman or anybody else. It's obvious. He kind of says it to his family, but
he 100% says it to his family.
Yeah, but I feel like it wasn't as highlighted as I would have wanted to.
So at the dinner table, so speaking of like him like laying it all out there, the dinner table. But at the very beginning, when a little girl says there's a dead fly in my potatoes, that was not scripted.
Right.
That just happened, and like everybody was trying to not laugh. And so I went back and looked, and like you could see like Richard Dreyfuss like has his hand over his mouth and like slowly closes his eyes, like he took like a deep breath before he says his line, because it just was not what anybody was expecting. I did not have a chance to go back and look, but apparently Carl Weathers was a part of the military police at the train station.
Yeah.
So I got to go back and check that out. But
I remember seeing him.
I have seen that like maybe once before.
Yeah.
That scene.
Another crazy thing, I could not find him, but apparently word on the street is that Jerry Garcia was an extra in the India scene. So he was like in the crowd.
All right.
But I went back and I kept looking and I could not find him.
That's going to be a tricky one.
I know. The missing planes that appeared in the desert and the ship, but the planes were based on a real disappearance of U.S. Navy Flight 19. And the names that were listed at the end of people that had gotten off the ship weren't the exact same names, but they were like plays on the names of those pilots.
The planes and the ship were supposedly disappearances that happened in the Bermuda Triangle.
Got it.
Yeah.
And something that I read too is like they still don't know what happened to the planes, the Flight 19.
Yeah.
But they supposedly did identify a shipwreck in the Bermuda Triangle that they say is that ship.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so the ship definitely did sink, but they still have no clue what happened to the planes.
Got it. The dog that gets off the spaceship is a Cocker Spaniel named Elmer, and that is Steven Spielberg's dog.
Wow. Oh, I did forget one.
Okay.
What did I say? Oh, the aliens.
Yes.
The stop motion puppet with the hands was known as Puck.
Oh,
that was the name for it.
All right, that makes sense. Perfect. I've got two more little things. One,
I have casting stuff after this.
This is none of it is casting.
Yeah.
The interview questions that were used in the little trailer or wherever they were are used to determine what type of encounter. So that's why they progress the way that they do to determine if it's like a first kind, second kind, third kind type encounter.
Yeah.
So, it starts with like the bringing in the, like, and then it gets to, did you see anything that you couldn't quite explain? So I thought that was interesting how the questions gradually progressed.
Yep.
The way that they did. So I thought that was cool. And then the last thing that I had, and it's obvious now, I don't know that it fully registered for me, but in the end, as he is about to board the ship, it's more prominent when in the special edition when he's in the ship and you can kind of see the inside. The music has a portion of When You Wish Upon a Star melody in it, which, I mean, for obvious reasons, it ties into that. But remember at the beginning, he talked about how much he loved Pinocchio, that movie, and all of that stuff. So I thought that was kind of a cool little nod there.
That there is Spielberg, right?
That is 100% Spielberg. Eric, did you have any?
Yeah. You covered them all.
Okay.
I think.
Casting issues.
Issues. I always like when you say issues because it always makes it sound like there were problems.
Well, I mean, situations, potentials.
Okay.
People who are almost cast.
Got it.
I'll do the easy one first. Ronnie, what's her name?
Teri Garr.
Ronnie Neary.
Mm-hmm.
Teri Garr. The only other one I see was Meryl Streep auditioned for it.
Whoa.
But she was young.
Yeah.
Like she was just out of school. Maybe was still in school.
Yeah. I mean, Meryl Streep is a great actress, but Teri Garr freaking nails this part. Like, it's perfect.
So he saw her. No, different one. Yeah. That's an easy one. Okay. Claude Lacombe.
Uh-huh.
His first name Claude. He's the French guy. Of course. So watching it last night, I kept thinking, like, why would they make him French?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did the French have some sort of? Were they leading the UFO deal, like, or like leading the UFO research?
The Eiffel Tower is like a beacon.
Well, I was just saying that, but like, where the Russians were like leading the way in like space exploration, like with the French, was that their thing? I didn't find that, but the reason he's French, he was based on a famous UFO researcher, Jacques Vallée, and some of the actors considered for the part they're all French actors. I could name them, but we don't know any of the names. Lino Ventura, Yves Montand. I'm just saying them.
Dave Beethoven?
Yeah. Well, I got Yves. Jean-Louis Printed. Oh, I'm not going to get that one. Jean-Louis, let's just call him
Craig Johnson.
Yeah. But it went to obviously Francois Truffaut. And he was a director / actor. What?
I'm laughing at my own joke.
So the interesting one here is Roy.
Okay.
And again, take all these with a grain of salt. But people who were up for this role in some capacity included Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, Gene Hackman, and James Caan, who all turned him down. supposedly. Turned Spielberg down.
It sounds like the usual suspects for 1977.
Totally does, but also Spielberg wasn't Spielberg. I mean, he did have Jaws.
Yeah.
But
so
he didn't have that pull.
I mean, Dreyfuss was in Jaws. Like, why wouldn't he have been at the top of his list? Why do we?
I didn't see that.
I did read actually that Spielberg, while making Jaws, was talking already about Close Encounters.
Yeah.
And Richard Dreyfuss, overhearing him talking about it, he was very interested in it.
Yeah.
And Dreyfuss got into Steven Spielberg's ear about it enough to say he wanted to be a part of it, that he talked to him.
He was pushing for it, but Spielberg wanted somebody else, apparently. Or the studio wanted a bigger name. I don't know what it was, but all those people, some of them could have worked, but Dreyfuss was good. That's all I got.
Okay.
Of all those other names that were listed, I guess like Dustin Hoffman might be like the closest to Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah. Who could play somebody kind of getting a little unhinged.
I would have liked to have seen the Gene Hackman version of it. I think it would be way too serious. He wouldn't. He's not quite the. Especially then, didn't have the comedic timing. I don't think that
he did. Lex Luthor.
I know, but
it was like right at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think he had. He wouldn't have had the bald head.
The blind guy in Young Frankenstein.
All right. Maybe he could have. Okay, it's a recasting debate. It's time to recast debate.
Better close the door. It's time to recast debate.
I only did the 4. Roy, Jillian, Ronnie, and Claude.
I added the translator.
I had him down too, but I'm like, whatever. Could have been anybody, really. Fine. Let's start with Roy. Eric, give us your Roy Neary, the Richard Dreyfuss part.
I feel like I say this every time, but for some reason I struggled a lot more with casting this movie than with others. I don't know. I guess as I think about this movie, looking back on it, like Richard Dreyfuss was only 30 years old when
I know
they made. He was crazy young, and I feel as I think about him even now, I think of him as being so much older. So to find like the right age range was.
I think
weird.
For a movie like this, I mean, for me especially, I'm usually the age stickler. I threw that out the window for the most part.
I considered who's going to have like kids. Like they'd have to be like, so I was looking at like 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
I came up with 2 names. In no particular order. Daniel Kaluuya. And Ryan Gosling.
Oh. I was expecting the first one to come up. I was not expecting Ryan Gosling. All right.
I almost had Kaluuya on my list of a couple different people. Well, the main guy, I guess. Ryan Gosling. Yeah, I think that's actually a good one. I didn't even consider him, but I think that's a good one. Okay. The guy that I want to cast in this is too old.
Okay.
So I want a younger version of Paul Giamatti. And I often put him in these things, but I thought he would work in that.
It's the curly hair.
Probably. I like him in the crazy part of this role, like the manic, nutty role. I'm going to go off of type a bit. I'm going to go Paul Rudd.
Oh.
Again, age is not an issue for me at this point. The one my number one that I like It's a very different version of this character, this is a different Roy. It's not Dreyfuss inspired. I'm doing, for real, Charlie Day. Charlie Day is my Roy in my Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Interesting.
I know.
I can maybe see it.
I think you can pull it off.
All right.
Al, who's your Roy?
I had actually problems narrowing it down to who I would pick. What I was trying to find is somebody that could go from kind of family man to kind of a little unhinged. And I had a lot of names, and I'm even struggling right now. I'm kind of vamping to kind of pick who I'm going to pick. One of the people I have is Shia LaBeouf.
I mean, not a bad one necessarily, but he's just so wacky.
I know.
I can't,
I've got Adam Driver.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna put. Oh gosh, I'm really tied between Miles Teller and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh. I would lean Gyllenhaal myself, but yeah, those are good ones. Yeah.
So
sure.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Let's go with Jillian Geiler.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce her name, her last name in the movie that we never hear. Okay, I'll go first because I didn't know where to go with this one. So I have a theme of starting with the younger version of someone.
Okay.
Because all these characters are younger, I'm going to go with a younger Jennifer Aniston. Is my number 2. For
a younger so time machine.
Yeah.
You're time machining.
I'm time machining.
Okay.
All of my backups are time machined.
Okay.
In reality, I think this is a name I don't think I brought up ever as a recasting person. Maybe I have. I think you have, though. Shailene Woodley.
Oh.
Is my
Just
Jillian.
put her down. Yeah.
I think that would work.
All right.
Eric, give us a Jillian.
I have either Florence Pugh, or Elizabeth Olsen.
Ooh, I had her somewhere else potentially, but she's coming off my list now. Oh. She's cast in Jillian's role.
Wow.
So,
all right, Al, give us your Jillian.
I wrote down this name to start, and you're probably not going to like it, but again, was trying to think about how to play kind of what appears to be a single mom, a bit tougher, and would like fight, like to protect her son and like go like do all this chasing. Got Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of a character.
It's a different character. I've got Brie Larson, second. And my top, though, is Tessa Thompson.
Okay.
I wanted to put her in this movie as well. I had trouble with this one. I'm with Eric. I had trouble casting this movie, I think. I had a few names that came up, but it was tough. All right.
Eric didn't give his.
He gave his Jillian.
You did?
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, my bad.
They're that forgettable.
Oh, that's right. You had Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah. Going with my theme of my backups are Time Machine version. So this is Ronnie Neary, played by Teri Garr. Because of the obvious connection, I'm doing Time Machine Lisa Kudrow.
Wow, you're going into the Friends.
Yeah.
Well,
Cujo and Jennifer Aniston are in my one of my versions.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
In the Friends universe, Teri Garr is
right.
Mom.
That's why I did it. If
the extended universe,
Teri Garr can play Lisa's mom, then Lisa can play Teri Garr in this bizarro world. So that's a backup. My second backup was already said, Brie Larson.
Okay.
I think my number one, strictly, my number one is Jennifer Lawrence as the Teri Garr
of course
person.
Yeah,
I think that fits. Yeah. Al, give us your Ronnie.
Okay. I've got Brenda Song.
That's good.
Who could play kind of like the wife that goes nuts on him.
It's basically her from The Social Network.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Carey Mulligan.
Okay.
But I think my top pick is going to be Blake Lively.
I almost had her.
Yeah, I thought about her.
Yeah. I absolutely had her on my short list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. Eric, give us Ronnie.
There's only one name that I'm even going to say because I dislike the other names down that much.
Yeah.
I'm dipping into a well that Brendan dipped into earlier, and I'm going to say, because I want somebody that will flip out, and she flips out a lot from what we all know her from, but it's just having to tweak it a little bit into a different area or type of performance. But Caitlin Olsen, Sweet Bee from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that is who. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that a lot.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That's a good one.
I like that a lot. Would you put McElhaney then in?
You could do a recast. You could totally. I mean, I
cast
picked
swap.
Charlie Day.
You could do a full cast
You could do
swap.
a full cast swap. Have Dennis be the French guy. Yeah.
And Mac be the interpreter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Claude Lacombe,
Mm-hmm.
Frenchie McFrench. I think there is only one answer. I'm going to give you a second one just because I found it and I'm just going to mention it. My number 2 for this guy is Jean Dujardin, the French guy from The Artist.
Yeah.
He was also the banker in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
He's my backup. If I need another Frenchman somewhere, he's there. The only answer is Vincent Cassel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't write it down. I went with different. I didn't do the research to know why it had to be French, so I just picked some other person for mine. But
I wanted to get a French guy, and I'm like, oh, Vincent Cassel is the French actor.
Right, that is the only answer if you're casting a Frenchie.
Yeah. Eric, do you have a Frenchie? Or Claude?
He's not French. He's not French, but he's proven to be very fluent in French. I penciled in Christoph Waltz.
Oh, that's good.
You're bringing a lot of gravitas to this French UFO expert.
Yeah. There's always Gerard Depardieu.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Al?
I didn't go with any French speaker or actor, but I went with who could play kind of the excited person.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Pedro Pascal.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And then I went totally different, and I went with Hiroyuki Sanada. God dang it, I totally blocked. Hiroyuki Sanada. He was in John Wick. He was the this actor. He was the hotel owner in John Wick 4, the Japanese guy.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And then similarly, I went with Donnie Yen. But I like the idea of having an Asian.
Someone just saw John Wick this weekend.
Yes. Although neither are in any of the ones that I saw. But
yeah, John Wick on the mind.
Well, I was looking for famous foreign language actors, and was trying to find somebody that it would almost have to be like unusual to have somebody that would not speak English. I guess even then it would be.
Had I not had Vincent Castle top of mind, I would have gone to a different country and found region and found.
Well, I had him too, but I knew one of you guys would, so I didn't put him down.
I tried. Well, we're not done yet, I guess. Any bonus people?
I did Laughlin the interpreter.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, okay. Give us an interpreter.
First name I did, I don't know. That Laughlin character, he didn't, not shy, but sort of like sort of mild-mannered, sensitive sort of character. And that is where I first thought of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, yeah.
But then, because the whole point of him is being able to speak French, I actually Googled like Hollywood actors that are fluent in French.
Yep.
Wow.
And again, these are going to be names that are way too big for the part, but I think both would work. Bradley Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
And Jodie Foster.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. This is
they both read maps.
That's right. The cartographer first, French speaker second. All right. Al, give us your interpreter.
So
David Laughlin.
Yes. I've got, of course, Donald Glover is going to be in here somewhere.
Man, I was trying to get.
I know.
I was going to do like a cast of Atlanta cast swap.
Yeah.
Didn't do that.
I've got Kieran Culkin.
Wow. All right.
And then I got Jonah Hill in there.
So for all of these interpreters, do all of them have big bushy beards?
Yes, pretty much. I also had Riz Ahmed if I wanted to like have like another
in the new version. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Kieran Culkin, I don't think's got a big beard, but
the beard is part of the part.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. No one tried to recast Barry.
That would be Bradley McDermott.
Yep. Okay. Memorable quotes or memorable scenes and quotable lines.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Like this? That is said in our house at least once a week. Doing something, putting something away, moving something into a certain place.
Yeah.
Invariably like this gets said.
I mean, the famous quote from this movie is, "This means something."
This means something, of course. I like I've got one of those in my living room.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I do like that one too.
Memorable scene. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say memorable scenes from, like, I remember watching this at our grandparents' house. It was one of the first times that I saw it, and we laughed hysterically at the guy. When the mothership comes, the guy gets scared and runs into the porta potty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a good.
All of us fell apart laughing. I thought that was just the pinnacle of physical comedy, was that guy running into the
He
porta
does
potty.
that in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to go to the bathroom. He's just hiding from the T-Rex.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't he also? Are you sure that other guy had?
I think he was going because he was scared shitless. And he had to go vomit or.
He was same thing. He was scared and hiding.
I mean, there's nothing more iconic than Barry opening the front door.
Yeah.
With all the orange lights and the trees and all of that. Oh, and the doggy door.
Yeah.
Where Jillian's trying to hold him back and gets pulled out.
The scene that I really like, because it's so simple but so effective. The whole scene when Roy's in the pickup truck and then the alien, the ship comes over. But the part of it is when he sets it up, Spielberg sets it up 45 seconds earlier with the car headlights that come up behind the truck.
Yeah.
And he says, "Go around." The car goes around and he yells at him, whatever. And then 40 seconds later,
another comes up.
See another set of lights, and he does the same wave, and then the headlights go up and over.
It is classic.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's one of my favorite in this whole movie. Yeah.
That whole scene though with the truck too, and the special effects of all that. I mean, it was such a big deal when that came out. It was so well done.
Yeah.
I would say that whole scene, back to kind of Barry with the opening the front door, but that whole sequence, right, of in the house, the rug blowing up and the screws coming out of the vent and her having to close the chimney flue and all of that stuff.
I was thinking about it even last night. The first half hour of this movie, 40 minutes maybe, almost plays like a horror movie. Like it's all scares and creepiness, and it's obviously like Jaws. You can't see the monster or the alien or the shark, but it's all played like a horror movie. Like it's all stuff out of frame and the screws coming out, and if you added in like a ghost here and there, it would be it would fit in as like a scary horror type movie.
Like Poltergeist.
Yeah, Poltergeist. Perfect. Yeah. Which is interesting because you don't think of Close Encounters as a scary movie. It's like a fun, awe-inspiring, sci-fi.
Like a thriller.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Eric, you will love this, or at least chuckle about it, because I will randomly send you and Jill and Susan a clip. That Budweiser commercial, I will never not sing along with it when he's building the giant Devil's Tower in his living room. I will never not sing it. It was so iconic to include that.
Clydesdale.
The Clydesdale Budweiser commercial and the Days of Our Lives. So,
the Days of Our Lives.
The Days of Our Lives part reminds me of Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
But yes. Yeah. This movie, it's even said in one of these don't know, extras or whatever on the version that we have. Spielberg talks about it, or one of the other directors talked about it. J.J. Abrams, or was it what's his face from Dune? That Spielberg nails the 70s aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
Of like the messy rooms and the kids and the chaotic household and everything. All of that, he nails it.
Yeah.
The
chaos of that house is insane.
The wall behind Roy.
We were talking about that.
With the wire shelving of some sort.
He's got milk crates that are screwed onto the wall that they're sticking things in.
There are no
sideways.
right angles.
Yeah.
Everything's like, I don't know, falling off or broken. It looks like it's like, it's got like highlight or like lacrosse things. Like there's a lot of like baskets and wires and like I don't know what is going on with that wall, and that's a living room,
and that train set in the middle of the living room also like it's insane.
This isn't like it's the basement or it's whatever sort of side room. It's the main living area of that house.
Yeah.
It's are the other, speaking of just being chaotic household, when at the beginning of the movie and Roy's doing his best to ignore it, is the kid in the playpen and he's smashing up that doll.
Yeah.
And he lets it go and lets it go, and then finally can't take it anymore. He's just like, Toby!
Yeah.
You are close to death.
Yep.
I think just about every parent has experienced that.
God.
Every parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is very, very good. I love the neighborhood, like when he is throwing everything into the window and gets the chicken wire and all this stuff. He goes out to the street and like there's just people standing there in the neighborhood watching. Eric, the neighbors that we had that would have done the exact same thing, would have stood out on the street watching Dad tell us to do X, Y, or Z, and they're like, what the hell are those kids? What's that family doing over there?
Spielberg thing too is like the nosy neighbors that are always like within earshot.
Yes. Watching chaos unfold. Yeah. It's good.
All right.
We could recap the whole movie in memorable scenes and quotable lines, but
let's move on to the how much are they worth game.
And now, let's play the how much are they worth game.
I've got 5 here. We're going to start with Bob Balaban.
Who's that?
The interpreter.
Okay.
Then we're going to go to Teri Garr, then Melinda Dillon, then Richard Dreyfuss, and then Spielberg. Balaban, we know from his stint on Seinfeld and in the Mighty Wind, those movies.
It took me a while to realize that was him.
Oh, yeah.
I was definitely adult when I made that connection.
Yes. You made the psychic connection.
Yeah. Right. Bob Balaban. He been working forever. Where is he? There he is. We've got him in God's Park, Mighty Wind, Capote, Close Encounters,
Severance,
80 for Brady.
He was in all the. Was he in multiple Wes Anderson?
Yeah, French Dispatch,
Isle of Dogs, and French Dispatch,
and I think he was in Budapest Hotel, wasn't he?
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, he's like a Wes Anderson player. Man, he's got a lot of things. He's
127 actor credits. Majestic.
Friends. Back to my Friends connection.
Wow. They're everywhere.
Yeah, Phoebe's dad.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Little Man Tate.
Waiting for Guffman. Okay. I've got a number.
I got a number.
Eric,
He was in Love American Style.
Give us a number for Bob Balaban.
A lot of credits, but a lot of supporting roles. 20 million.
20?
Yeah.
Oh, I had 21.
I had 12. Bob Balaban is an American actor, author, producer, and director who has a net worth of $25 million.
Woo!
Yeah. He's everywhere. I just didn't think he had enough.
He looks like he'd invest his money wisely.
He looks bookish that he would put in the work. Teri Garr, the late Teri Garr. Wait, she did die, right?
Did she?
Teri Garr, no, Melinda Dillon, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
She's in.
Teri Garr, she had, if I remember right though, she has MS, so it's been a long time since she's worked.
Yeah.
Mm.
Teri Garr, who is in pretty much every single movie of my childhood.
Yeah. Like, she's got so many of your favorite movies or frequently watched movies.
Yeah.
157 credits here.
Close Encounters, Tootsie, Mr. Mom, Black Stallion, Young Frankenstein, just on and on and on.
Young Frankenstein is so great.
He was heavy in the 80s, man.
Dumb and Dumber.
No. I don't know what to put for her.
Oh, God. She was on the show Maude, as was Bob Balaban.
All right, Al, write something down. Like the voice work. Okay, Eric, give us a number for Teri Garr.
I'm going to say that her career kind of parallels Bob Balaban's a little bit, and I'll say 25.
Dang it. That's exactly what I wrote down, Eric.
I wrote down 31. Hey. Teri Garr with 2 R's. Ooh. Okay. This is interesting. Teri Garr is an American actress, comedian, and dancer who has a net worth of $6 million.
Woo!
That doesn't sound right to me.
That's disappointing.
But you and you guys tie for that. Wow. Those medical bills are a bitch.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, she's 78. Melinda Dillon. All you have to know really is this movie and
Christmas Story.
Christmas Story. She's done plenty of other stuff. I've seen
62 actress credits.
Yeah. So we were talking about how young Dreyfuss is in this movie. I was thinking Dreyfuss is super young. Teri Garr must be super young in that movie. And I thought Melinda Dillon is super young.
Right.
She was like 38 in that movie.
Really?
Yeah. I was surprised.
Harry and the Hendersons. Oh my god.
She was in The Juggler of Notre Dame. Okay. Never even heard of it.
Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything.
Eric, she was in the Muppet movie.
How to Make an American Quilt.
Woman with Balloon. Uncredited. Which came after Close Encounters. That was in 1979.
Christmas Story.
Slapshot.
Yeah, like Twilight Zone. They're in the Hendersons was 87. Prince of Tides. Yeah. She did not do a lot of big stuff after the 80s, really. Wow. Okay. I'll put her down. Yeah, I don't feel good about the number.
I don't even.
Allison, give us your number for Melinda Dillon.
8 million.
Eric, what'd you have?
5.
I had 9.
Based on, I mean, Teri Garr only had.
I know.
It's.
But I don't know how to weight these.
Yeah.
I want to think she got like a lot of like what do you call them? Residuals? What is it called?
I know.
With playing 24 Hour of a Christmas Story like every year.
She didn't have a.
Yeah, it depends on the contract she signed when they.
Melinda Dillon is an American actress who has a net worth of $3 million.
Wow.
We should have considered our hesitations on that.
Yeah.
Eric gets that one. It's 2-2. You guys are neck and neck. All right. Now we take the 2 that we have already done from Jaws. And we don't remember, of course.
Nothing. I blank slate.
Richard Dreyfuss is the first one.
I finally watched American Graffiti for the first time, like a week ago.
He's good in that too.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a douche, but it's really good and stuff.
It's been a long time since I watched that movie.
Yeah.
Bubble Guppies.
Maybe I've only seen it once.
Well, good news. I bought it for $4.99 on iTunes, so watch it.
He plays Madoff in the Bertie Madoff miniseries.
Plays Dick Cheney in W.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
That was a lot of stuff. He had a lot of big roles. He also had a cocaine problem. Which may play a role in all of this.
What about Bob?
Yeah. Dr. Leo Marvin.
Another stakeout.
Stand by me.
American president. Mr. Holmes. All right. I've got a number.
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yep.
I got a number.
Eric, give us a number for Richard Dreyfuss.
$40 million.
No shit. That makes me discount or second guess what I put. I put down 22.
Ooh. I had 55.
Shit. Okay.
You threw me off by the cocaine problem.
Ricardo Dreyfuss.
My part.
See, I know we don't know if any of these are real, but this number makes me think in particular that this is not real.
Okay.
So we're just guessing what this site says. Richard Dreyfuss is an American actor who has a net worth of $5 million.
Whoa!
Cocaine is a hell of a drug, man.
Come on, that cannot be true.
It can't be true. It can't be true.
He's got two divorces.
Oh. Okay.
Man.
3 kids in the first marriage.
Oh. Yeah.
Jaws, Close Encounters, Goodbye Girl, Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Stakeout, Stand By Me,
The American President.
The American President, Mr. Holland's Opus, etc., etc. 5 million. Okay, well, I got that one just by default.
Wow.
Fucking hell. All right. Now we go to the big fish.
A little known director, independent film.
Some dude named Spielberg. Apparently, this guy made Schindler's List. Who knew? Oh, Lord. The Fablemans.
That's what put him over the top.
Yep. West Side Story. He's got producer credits. I don't care. I don't know for that.
Yeah, but he's got
those
probably
matter.
play a big part.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, he's an executive producer for the Animaniacs. Really?
No. I know. That's a throwaway, and that's significant. Like, that's a big one. Ready Player One, the director. The Post. Bridge of Spies, Lincoln, Warhorse, The Adventures of Tintin, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, Munich, War of the Worlds, Terminal, Catch Me If You Can. This is just like recently, like relatively recently. I know it
even like he's a producer in like all the Transformer movies.
Yeah.
Which, as terrible as they are, each make $1 billion.
They're massive. Yeah. I mean,
Men in Black.
Right. He has all this stuff upcoming too, which I'm getting tripped up on. Jurassic World producer. Good God, man. Okay.
I wrote down something that I can't believe I wrote down.
I wrote down a number that I think I'm being conservative with. How about that? Eric, give us your number for Steve Spielberg.
I'm going to say 2.5 billion.
Fuck. I'm an idiot. I wrote the dumbest number down. I think it's so small. It's really bad.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
604 million. I knew I was undercutting it, but I didn't.
604?
Yeah.
I've got 1.5 billion.
I didn't want to get close to $1 billion. I'm like, who knows what's going on there? He doesn't miss. He doesn't have flops that matter.
No. And And again, like his producing so much, he's taken a piece of all of those things. Like he's not taking a wage, he's taking a percentage.
I'm sure I blew this one last time too. I can never go to the extreme high end of these guys. Ha!
Brendan just got out of his chair.
I'm gonna walk around for some. Okay, I think I have the record for missing by the most.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what I did with the Jaws episode, but I know you had a big one. You had a big miss with
Scorsese.
Scorsese. Or was it Lucas?
Scorsese.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
I said 600.
I've written that down.
Okay. Steven Spielberg is an American director, screenwriter, and producer who has a net worth of $8 billion. $8 billion with a B.
Oh my God. Eric gets it, still missing by 5.5 billion.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I feel like that's granted, we never could remember from one time to another, but at the same time, I feel like that's like doubled since we did Jaws.
Yeah, potentially.
I feel like when we did a Jaws,
we'd have to go back to the tapes.
So the rest of his little mini description here is has a net worth of $8 billion and an annual income of $150 million. As of this writing, Steven's $8 billion fortune makes him the second richest celebrity on the planet, behind good buddy and fellow director-producer George Lucas, who is worth $10 billion.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
When he sold Lucasfilm, it was something like Lucasfilm, Industrial Light Magic, all that's Star Wars, everything. He got like $6 billion.
Yeah, that's the number I thought too. 6, and that was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago.
Years ago, I would say 10.
Was it 10 years ago?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, maybe. Right.
Oh my God.
Force Awakens came out when? This was a couple years before that.
So
wow.
Just for the record,
wow.
I missed by 7.4 billion.
Yep. That's all. And Eric wins.
Eric wins 3-2. Wow.
I was still off by 5.5 billion.
The winner is off by 5.5 billion. All right. To recap, this movie rocks.
It's great. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. It's great. It does not feel dated. Like if you can just get past like the cars and a bit of the clothes, even some of the clothes are coming back, as I was like looking at like what Jillian's wearing. I'm like, I think I saw that in a website like yesterday.
My favorite thing that dates it severely is when they're looking for a map and they go grab the giant globe.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone not having a map within 3 feet of their eyeball at any given
within
point?
6 inches of their hand at any given time? They have their phone. But
or when Roy gets to Wyoming and he's in the rental car and he's just frantically trying to look open with the one hand to unfold all those maps.
Yeah.
Or the pull down map in his truck.
But the movie holds up so well.
Yeah, of course.
Because it wasn't overly reliant on crazy special effects.
Right.
Like it was classic Spielberg kind of using lights and angles and off camera, like whatever. And the music's fantastic. Like
I would argue that 90% of the special effects in this movie still hold up pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't look bad.
They do a lot of forced perspective, so you can use like models and whatever and have enough detail there that make it work.
Yeah, I think
it's so good.
Yeah, it's on TV here and there, and I catch parts of it, but this is the first time I've watched it start to finish. I feel like in a good while.
It's so good.
It's really good. And I was thinking it was, it's a 3-hour movie, or it will feel like a 3-hour movie. It flew by. I mean, it wasn't very long at all. It's good paced, or well paced.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Close Encounters. If you haven't seen it, definitely see it. And if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, I can't believe
How dare you?
Yeah, you're too young, or you're too old. Why are you listening to it?
Rush Hour.